Hey everybody, we are back today with Brandy of Brandy Burrow Astrology, and we will be talking about the astrology surrounding the disappearance of Maura Murray. This happened on February 9th of 2004, so it's almost 20 years old, and it is a weird fucking case, like a really, really weird fucking case. A lot of parallels to, well, Brandy and I both think they're different things, but we're going to be looking at Brianna Maitland's as well on her channel, because there are these two cases happen very close together, both in time and in actual location. We do think that they're not connected, but we did want to look at them together. But we're going to start with Maura Murray here. She went missing on February 9th, 2004. The last time she was seen on ATM, like an ATM camera footage, was at 3:40 p.m. in Amherst, Massachusetts. Then she runs some errands, and at 7:27 p.m. in Haverhill, New Hampshire, her car is an accident report is filed. Her car has gone off the road. They find her car off the road. It's hit a tree. This is the part that I'm not totally sure about, because some people claim that they saw her. There was a bus driver who actually spoke to her, asked if she needed help or anything like that. She said no.
And begged him to not call the police.
You're right. Yes.
Yeah.
It said pleaded not to call. But the accident was reported at 7:27 p.m. And then at 7:45, I believe the police actually get there, and she is nowhere to be found. There are reports of people passing, I believe, that think they saw her next to the car. Somebody that lived close by thought they saw her next to the car too. And then at 7:45 p.m., she's just gone. she's vanished. So there's also a lot, I guess we can get into like because there are a lot of moving pieces to this case. I guess we can just jump in with the first chart and kind of talk about those moving pieces as we go along. Should we look at the ATM chart first?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Let me share the screen. Okay. That's okay. Can you see that okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Okay, so this is when she was the video, the CCTV or whatever was got her taking out money from an ATM. Supposedly she cleaned out, or mostly cleaned out, her account. So this is actually like it has an actual timestamp on it. What stands out to you here?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna look at her rulers first, which would be, we're Leo ascendant, so that's her. She's gonna be ruled by the sun in Aquarius in the 7th house, and also the moon in Libra in the 3rd house. And it's interesting because she pulls out $280. So I guess that's all she has. That's really not a whole lot of money.
No, it's not.
To live on for at least an extended amount of time. And I don't know, maybe that Jupiter here in the 2nd house in Virgo in a detriment might indicate like something like that, like, hey, there's not a whole lot of money here. But it's kind of interesting, like, what is she thinking? That's kind of what I'm wondering. But she's ruled by that sun in the 7th house. The 7th house is interesting.
Yes, it is.
We have that angular house, which would indicate if there's someone involved, a perpetrator, or partnerships or open enemies, but it usually indicates other people.
It does. That's one of the things that I think is so weird about this chart, because while it does tend to indicate other people, I'm not getting that vibe here.
Yeah. Same. That's why I'm like, what does this mean?
Could be legal stuff.
Could be.
something legal. It feels because that is a theory that is a theory that's been tossed around, that maybe she had a boyfriend, like an on record boyfriend, that she reached out to a couple of times that day. Once earlier in the afternoon by email, and then once she like sent him a voice message or something. Not I don't think they even had voice messages back then. She called him and left a
voicemail.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I clearly don't do that anymore. So I'm like, yeah. Sign of the times, I guess. But there is this theory that she could have been seeing somebody else secretively, or I don't know. That's just not what this feels like.
No. And being that this is like a snapshot of the astrology when she's at the ATM, makes me wonder if the $280 or a portion of that money is for someone else, because she's in that 7th house. Maybe like, I have this money to give to somebody or for something, or it's weird.
Yeah. And I mean, it's Aquarius. So yeah, it's it's like,
the sign of weird.
Yeah. The sign of weird. Yeah, it could be getting it to give to somebody. Here, if there is another person, it's not like a romantic thing. It's like somebody kind of either like a friend, right? Because we're talking about Aquarius, or somebody that she didn't know well, maybe. Like there's a detachment.
Yeah. It's not a very warm, squishy, romantic sign. So yeah, there's something detached, which it's same. Pulls me away from anything romantically linked.
Yeah. And that moon in the 3rd, you brought that up. That could be like her in her car, like, traveling around.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just looking up real quick because Neptune being pretty close to the sun. I mean, it's still about 7 degrees, but pretty close. I was looking, I don't know why, but I got like, if this money is for someone else, is it for something not on the up and up? Or, there's all sorts of theories out there, but I was looking up what would a con man or someone like not honest, be represented by. And it actually says con man is Neptune. We look in the rulership book. So I'm just kind of seeing, is that at play?
Yeah. And I'm also wondering if the Neptune here could kind of be fucking with things just in general.
Yeah.
Because and y'all will see in the next chart, like while her ruler is the sun in this one, in the next one, Mercury is her ruler, and you've got Neptune in a sandwich between these two. So there is like a it just feels not super clear.
Not clear.
Not super clear.
Yeah. And, Mercury could be ideas too.
Yes.
Yeah, like, ooh, I got this light bulb. Maybe, and of course we can kind of go into the story and what was going down, but if this is, I'm going to run away, I'm going to escape, I'm going to maybe change my identity, I don't know, all these things. Maybe that's why we got Mercury and Neptune right there and visiting the same house as her ruler.
It could, yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe we should,
Sorry, am I jumping ahead?
No. I was gonna say we should go ahead and talk about, because you mentioned the thing about changing identities, and that, I'll be honest, I'm kind of on the fence with 2 particular things, and that is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of them. Her running away, and there are she leading up to this, there were, and no judgment, or no judgment from either one of us about this, but she had some legal issues, stealing credit card numbers, or I don't quite know all the details about all of that, but something where she was stealing credit card numbers and using them to buy food or something. That was in 2003. Now, the thing about that, though, is in December of 2003, that had been continued and it was going to be dismissed. So, I mean, okay, yeah, there had been some legal stuff, but I guess if she had been on good behavior, or whatever the conditions were of the continuance, it sounds like it would have been dismissed.
Yeah, she's gonna pretty much get away with it as long as she just
Yeah.
stayed on the up and up for what, like just a few months or.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 months or something. It wasn't very long. It wasn't very long. Then closer into when this happens, it was on either the night of February 7th or early in the morning on February 8th. She has her dad's car and she wrecks it. Not totals it, but I think it was like, what was it, like 10 grand in damage or something.
Yeah.
No field sobriety test was supposedly done for this. So, but it, I bring up the field sobriety thing because then this occurs, and one of the errands that she has to run this day is to a liquor store,
Yeah,
where she buys like $40, $50 worth of booze. I mean, people can buy whatever they want, but
there's something going on with that. And
yeah,
and I'm trying to remember what night. I think it was a couple of nights prior to this. She had an emotional phone call with her sister who was struggling with alcoholism. And the conversation had something to do with that. So we know, that's hereditary,
yes, there can be genetic links with that, for sure. Another thing about that, okay, and this part here is pure, just kind of, I'm not saying this is accurate, okay, but this is something that is tossed around online. If you wanted to kind of go the disappearance route with this, it was like a week. It was like a week before or something. I don't remember the exact date. It was a week before this, she goes missing. There is a hit and run at her school. The person who was hit, luckily, was okay, but didn't remember anything about being hit. Now, there are theories that she could have been behind this.
Do we know what car she was in? Because I know her dad had been in town prior to this to shop cars for her, and this is when she wrecks his car.
Her car was a Saturn, I think, is what.
Oh, okay.
I believe. And his car,
right.
I think, what was his car? A Toyota or something?
I think it was a Toyota. Yeah. I remember that now that you say that. Okay.
Now, what car actually, and again, I'm not saying that I'm not necessarily saying that she had anything to do with this hit and run, but the timing is interesting. I do think it's interesting timing. The police have claimed that she didn't have anything to do with it, but I don't know. From what I understand about that, it's not like they had footage of who actually hit this guy. So I don't really know how they know it. And we all know the police get things not right. So I do think the timing is interesting. You have somebody, let's just play with this for a second. You have somebody who is on kind of like a probation, if you will, can't fuck up. I don't know, something like that might cause somebody to think about if she were involved in this hit and run. If she was, that might cause somebody to not want to stick around, especially if they thought that
you can see that in this chart with the moon in the 3rd house of some transportation, some travel, Mercury being there in the 7th house, which I would look at for a car. Yeah, so playing with that theory, you can't rule that out with this chart.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, you really can't. And I don't even know really how police ruled it out. I mean, I was kind of looking for that because I was on, different forums reading about this, and I was like, that's interesting as shit. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really sure how they did it, but I'm thinking, I don't really know how they would do that if there was no footage, because I don't think anybody's ever been arrested for it or any,
Yeah.
it's
I
not,
wonder if it's a case of not ruled out, but not having anything pointing them in that direction.
maybe.
Hmm.
Should we look at the one for the last time her phone was used?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me X out of that. Let me find the. Okay. So this took place at 4:37 p.m. She may not have actually been in Amherst because I think she was on the road. I just had it set to that because I'm not really sure exactly where the hell she was when this when this voicemail call took place. But shortly, a similar chart. We still have a Leo rising. Sun is still in the 7th. Neptune and Mercury have now moved to the 6th. Moon is still in the 3rd.
Yeah, the Mercury Neptune moving to the 6th kind to me points towards running away. We see runaway stuff in 6th house. And we're kind of seeing, okay, her rulers are in the same house, but these other planets are now moving here, in the 6th house, here in the 6th house. And yeah, I wonder if this is escape. Like, I got to get out of here for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what this feels like. And it could very well be, just escape from like life, just like not necessarily escape new identity life, but just escape getting away, going to it. She also, I don't think I mentioned this, she was also looking at places to stay earlier the afternoon that she went missing. It appears anyway to be kind of a quick thing. Like it didn't sound like she was doing this for days and days. It was like she got up and started doing it or something. That's kind of what,
very
what I mean?
very, very Aquarius, very sudden. And
yeah.
Yeah, she was looking at places to rent. She had driving directions printed out before GPS was in everybody's car. You had to print out, turn left here, So yeah, it does feel very, very sudden and unplanned and impulsive.
Yeah, it does.
It is interesting that Mars is now pretty close to that 10th house midheaven line. I look at Mars, as a malefic. Mars and Saturn are kind of the planets that can bring unfortunate events or unfortunate endings. And it's interesting that Mars and Saturn at this point are both like in detriments.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Mars right there on that 10th house. And also I can't see, is it ruling the 4th house technically? What's the 4th?
Oh shit. I'm sorry. Can you not?
That's okay.
Can you
there
see
we go.
it now?
Yeah.
So sorry, I had a bunch of fucking other pictures.
Well, we didn't need it till now, so that's okay. So the 4th house being ruled by this Mars in detriment on the 10th house, to me, shows that like the outcome is just not good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, should we look at and see if there's a fixed
Yeah,
star
we should.
around that Mars? It is very attention grabbing.
Mm-hmm. So 4 degrees Taurus. We got a 3 degrees Taurus, violence, defeat, accidents, injury, danger, honors. So, and we know she's going to end up in an accident in the car.
Yeah. What about, I'm just curious, what about Saturn? It's 6:56. 6:56. Answer. The roarer.
Yeah. Got dangerous passions. Faithful. I don't know if faithful works here, but I know.
Yeah,
That's quite the way it sounded.
yeah. And then it also says charitable, good qualities.
Good qualities. I don't know about this one. I don't know about Mars. Yeah.
Should we look at when her car is, when the accident is called in?
Yeah, I think that's good because I think it's pretty credible. Someone sees a female in the car and a bus driver claims to talk with her. That's probably a good last scene. I think that's a credible.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is too, especially when like she specifically mentions that she is going to call, or that she's going to call AAA, and the AAA card I think is like out in the car.
Yeah.
But she never actually.
Yeah, AAA says they never heard from her.
Yeah. All right. So this is the time, not the time the police got there, but the time the accident was called in. The police got here. I have this at 7:27 p.m. The police got there, I think, at like 7:45. It's a 20-minute window, essentially. That's quick.
Yeah. And we now have her ruled by Mercury and Aquarius in the 5th house. Right by that Neptune. 5th house really can bring in drinking, taking risks, some form of adventure, pleasure, children, which there's nothing to do with children in this case, but there is something here, like with that stellium, with Mercury ruling her, and the moon, because the moon's ruling her too in Libra. Something about pleasure and and the way that equates here, I think, is about doing what she wants, right?
That's exactly what I think. When I see that moon in the 1st, when I see all that shit in the 5th, this is and I'm not saying that like she necessarily wanted to get in an accident, though I do think that, well, I'll get into that, I guess, in a little bit, but she is, to me, here doing what she wants to do, or thinks she wants to do.
Even if it's not in her best interest,
Yes.
When you get like that moon in Libra, which is a Venus ruled sign, there's something about comfort or pleasure, or what makes me happy, or it's kind of like, what do I want to do?
Yeah. But again, like you said, it may not be the best thing, because like you said, that moon is in Libra, that Venus is in Aries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Venus is not in a great sign ruling that moon placement. Yeah. And you got Pluto right there, close to the 4th house cusp. I don't know if it's like, but if it's too early to kind of say where I think this is going, but it looks like she has a plan in place. Like, here's what I'm going to do. I don't know if the accident's on purpose, if it's on purpose, or if it's an accident. Either way, like the following steps that she takes, it's just not good. like what, I don't want to say it like this, like, what are you thinking? But like,
well, yeah. Well, no, you bring up a good point though with the because I mean, she's Virgo rising here, right?
Yeah.
And it does kind of, well, Virgo is like, it's judgment, right? And discernment, but there's something about that Mercury so close to that Neptune that maybe makes me think that the discernment wasn't quite so good.
Sure. Right. Clouded judgment.
Yeah.
And it could be because she's drinking.
Yes.
They suspect from the way they found the car, there was, I think, wine spilt. There were empty beer bottles. Some of the liquor
was gone.
She thought was gone, so she probably took it with her. She could have been drinking, and here, I'll do this next, and not good judgment, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, like, you just, I'm thinking about, like, if I was in her shoes, I don't think I would have taken off somewhere, but I would be thinking to myself, was just an accident I was in less than 48 hours before. Today, I went and picked up one of the errands that she had to run was picking up the accident report form.
Yeah.
Right?
So her
I found
dad could
that-
claim an insurance claim to get his car fixed.
Yeah. And then let's say she was drinking. It was, I would imagine it was like snowy, right? It was snowy,
Yeah. It was cold,
icy,
snowy.
cold. So she accidentally skids off the road and thinks, fuck, like fuck. Because I probably would if these chain of events had just happened not that far back in the past.
Yeah.
And if I don't know if I was drinking, I don't know, maybe I would just take off. I don't know.
I do wonder with this chart, a theory. I wonder if she crashes the car, packs up some of the stuff. I'm gonna just go on foot and keep going. I'll find someone to give me a ride. I do wonder if someone picks her up. Because if we're looking at a perpetrator and looking at that seventh house, well, we got Venus in Aries and a terrible sign. Speaking about event astrology, not natal astrology. So if you have Venus and Aries in your chart, you're okay. But in this case, not in a good sign, and kind of a harmful sign, someone who's not your friend, let's say. And then we got the cusp of the seventh house ruled by that Jupiter in Virgo, also in a detriment, but in the sign of Mercury. Does she try to get help from someone who ends up taking advantage of this, or who's just being at the wrong place at the wrong time?
Normally I would be like, that's just so fucking coincidental. And so, you know what I mean? Normally I'd
like
be
everything would have to line up exactly to put her there yeah.
Normally I'd be like, that's just so fucking coincidental. Like, I don't know. But then we were looking at like the vertex, right? Like in the charts, like before we got on here doing this. And I don't know, you got the vertex here. It's very close to Uranus, which can be like synchronicity and coincidence.
Yeah.
It seemed, I wouldn't rule that out here. And another thing that actually does kind of bring into play what you're talking about is I guess the dogs, they tracked her for I don't know how long they tracked, but they lost the scent. Like she just vanished or got into a car,
Yeah, they think, to the police, the only way they could explain that is that she got into a car and left.
Yeah.
Because the scent trail just stops.
Yeah.
Stops. You do have the South Node. Am I saying the South Node correctly this week? The South Node in Scorpio in the third house.
Yes.
Yeah. Last week I was flip-flopping my South Node.
That's okay. Oh, somebody also left a comment that I don't know, that we didn't get the nodes right in some other, I don't know.
Oh, it happens because they're so like, I wish they were like totally different symbols, but
sometimes I'll get Venus and Mercury.
Yeah.
One has the little, and then the other.
My favorite is the Virgo and Scorpio glyphs. I fuck them up all the time. But, yeah, so we got the South Node in the third house, this, which is like a spiraling down. South Node's not always the most positive thing in a horary or a forensic astrology chart in the third house. Like, so, I mean, there are some markers here suggesting that she could have gone off with somebody.
Yeah.
Like maybe hitchhiking. Maybe someone pulled over. Let me give you a ride. I'm going towards Vermont,
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I said, normally the coincidence thing, I would be like, nah, it's too much. It's too much. But I don't know, having this like this. And then what was the vertex? It was conjunct Pluto in one of them, right?
Yeah, I can tell you. Let's see. Yeah, hold on, that's my case. Yeah, it's right next to Pluto in the ATM footage.
Okay. So it does, I mean, it is,
Yeah.
it does kind of feel like if there were a time for something to be kind of coincidental or whatever, just this might be it.
And it makes me wonder in that ATM footage when I'm like, was this money for someone else? Could she have offered to pay someone gas money to take her somewhere? Someone who pulls over, and because there were people checking on her, the bus driver, people.
You mean like her having this planned?
Not planned, but like someone pulling over, seeing her leaving on foot and saying, hey, do you need a ride? Yeah, let me give you gas money. I need to go here. Maybe that's why the ATM chart is showing possibly the money was for someone else, or, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not with the intention, maybe not planned, but ended up
working out that way.
Yeah. Ended up leading to the outcome of what's happening to her. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going off on that one, but yeah, I don't know. It's, it's interesting.
The one thing that I really don't think happened here, though, is like a really secret romantic relationship. I don't think that was the case.
No.
Do you, let me ask you this. Do you think who knows? This is almost 20 years ago. So I don't know if she's alive now, but do you think she was alive after this? Like shortly after this?
I don't think she's killed instantly, but I think something ends up happening to her. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah. It could even be, I did map this just on the off chance that nobody did pick her up and she did just like get into this accident and not really wander off, but take off, I did map it. Okay, lovely scribble maps. You'll see this line is not 100% straight because I don't know.
It's scribble maps.
Yeah. Okay, so, and I got to tell you, her location was hard to find where this accident happened. It was not easy because it's had the street name, but it didn't have address, coordinates, whatever. I actually came across a blog in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I translated it. And they had a picture of like where it happened on a map. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Because
nice.
Otherwise I would have had no idea where this happened on however you pronounce this word.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But
Wild A Road. So we'll
yeah. Huh. Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know how to pronounce that one. I don't even know how to spell it. But this is around where it happened, shortly after this curve. Yeah, as you can see, I fucked this. Ignore that line. That line is like whatever. I don't know. I really love scribble maps, but it has some issues, and I would really love it if somebody who works on it would fix these issues because it's great otherwise.
Except for it's a little hard to use. Yeah, you can fuck it up really easily. All your work can fuck up.
It's not super user friendly, but it's a great idea,
Yeah.
Anyway, so what
I never used it without saying the F word though. I mean, like just
yeah,
it's a little frustrating.
Or wanting to throw something or
yeah.
So in looking at this, when I was choosing where to map in this case, I was looking at the time that the accident was reported.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at the degrees from that Mercury to Sun. Because the Sun is her ruler in the first two charts, Mercury is her ruler in the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mercury falls between both. I don't know. It seemed now this isn't like a small area at all. Right? Not really. But it
gives you a direction. It gives you an area to.
Yeah, this feels like, and what's weird about that is really this is the ascendant line. I also put that one on there. Now, to me, this one actually makes more sense because it seems like this is more out in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Can I ask where in the vicinity? Because she had directions to Vermont. Is that right?
Yes.
Where is Vermont in vicinity of?
Isn't, oh shit.
I don't want you to mess it up. I was just curious what direction. It's not the ascendant line or.
I don't know. Well,
It would have been nice if I brought this up earlier for us to look at. I just now had the light bulb to.
Is it over here? I probably sound like an idiot. Like, where is
So
Vermont?
she's like in Massachusetts, heading.
Oh, isn't this Vermont, Burlington? I know that that's not where she was going, but
I think.
I wish it said the state. Okay, here we go. Okay, so yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at that, right, that's that line.
That wedge would be that towards that direction, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it's like totally would be. Yeah. But those were the two that like caught my attention. Those two places caught
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. I know they've claimed to have searched all over. I'm not sure if they've really. I don't know how much I don't know.
Yeah, if I doubt they used forensic astrologers in 2004, but had they, this would have been okay. Let's search these. Let's go up these highways or what roads are over here. Is there evidence? Is there things thrown out of the car? Yeah, it's been a good area to track. Or she could be. I mean, was it the last chart that Saturn? No, it was the voicemail chart. I believe that Saturn was in the 12th.
I know the first one. It was like that.
Oh yeah, the ATM footage. Yes. We got rivers over there. Yes. And Saturn's in a water sign in Cancer. Yeah. If something happens to her pretty quickly, makes me wonder if that's an area where she could have been found.
Yeah. I mean, there's this word that I can't pronounce. The river runs all the,
Yeah.
Kind of weaves. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
let me, before I mess that up. So, are you leaning more towards one way or the other? Or one particular way? Are you kind of like me where it's like, huh?
I'm having a very Gemini moment because when we've been discussing this one, here and there throughout the week. And I kind of had one theory. Really looking at the charts now and discussing them again, I'm kind of switching my theory. I know. That's just how I am. Right now I wonder if, we have some self-destruction. We have some escapism. She's running away. She crashes the car.
The destructiveness. We forgot to talk about, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We forgot to mention the fixed star by the sun.
Yeah. Let's look at that.
The sun was at 20 Aquarius, and we were looking at it earlier, and it's by a star that can represent destructiveness, uncontrollable temper, malevolence. But this would be her specific, right? While it, like perhaps being those kinds of ways towards herself. That's kind of how I'm taking that.
Yeah, like self-destruction.
Yeah,
self-sabotage of sorts. And so I'm wondering, from what I'm kind of seeing, I'm wondering if she has the accident, says, oh shit, I've had a string of accidents and bad judgment, and I don't want to get in trouble again. I'm just going to grab my shit and walk and find another way. I don't know. I do wonder now if someone has picked her up and has inflicted harm on her. I don't know if she was killed. She could have gone off with this person for a few days and then something happened to her. I don't know, but I'm just wondering. I do wonder now if someone picks her up off the side of the road and that leads to her demise.
I think that's very possible. I think that's, my question is, was it, I'm on the fence with two things. With two things. Well, actually, I guess technically three, but two of them are kind of similar. Two of them are kind of similar. One is that this was completely staged. All of this. And
Yeah,
it's
with all that Neptune.
Yes, it's the Neptune there. It's like there's something, I don't know. I don't know. She wants to take off for whatever reason that might be. So she kind of stages this and has somebody pick her up and take her wherever. And, or, the accident is legitimate. And, it's a legitimate accident and somebody say picks her up, and whatever happens next kind of thing. Or the accident is legitimate and, an actual accident, and she takes off to, because I mean, she was, having that like continuance, right, or whatever for that credit card stuff. Getting a DWI or DUI or whatever would have fucked that up. I'm sure it would have, probably.
Yeah. And some people panic,
Yes.
They make
and I can't blame, I mean, no judgment. I I've never been in that situation, but I would imagine I would probably panic too.
Yeah, it would be an oh shit moment for sure. Like,
yes.
Oh shit. And, a good point to make, she went to college at West Point for like 3 semesters and then transferred to another college in Massachusetts for a nursing program. She's smart.
Yes.
Maybe she's not making the best judgment calls here, not, like I said, not coming from a judgmental place, but, using stolen credit cards, these kind of things. But she's intelligent. That could support the theory of, did she move on and change identity and create a new life?
I mentioned this to you. Let me actually pull something just to show. Okay, it's the first one. What's in all? It's actually in all of them. It doesn't really matter what the fuck one I pull. You brought up the South one. Go away, pictures. Okay. You brought up the South node, and we do have this squaring the sun.
Yeah.
The axis is squaring the sun. And there is not like in a past life reading or in a natal chart reading, but in this context, there is something about this that kind of seems like, I don't know if she, like, almost like, feeling like this, like this was her shot to leave.
Now or never, like.
And really, I could see that even being the case, even if the accident was legitimate, it's like, oh shit, this almost like, oh shit, this is my chance to go. If that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. I was just looking up, I'm trying to remember how she's in her early 20s.
Yeah, she was like, I think she was 21 or
right.
22.
Okay. Yeah. And we know, I mean, you can look at just her birthday. We don't have a birth chart, but her birthday is May 4th. She's a Taurus. We got like, it's Aquarius season. Doesn't jive very well with Taurus. It can be, a little challenging. And
I wonder if her natal sun would have been like conjunct that North node.
I can look it up real quick.
I'm not sure what the degree of it.
Let's look up I got my ephemeris. Well, I can look up an online ephemeris. That's probably faster. So we'll look at, it's May 1982, May 4th. So May 1982.
It might be what, 12?
She's an early degree. It's a 13 degrees Taurus sun that day.
Okay. It's right. It's okay. So the North Node at 15 it would be. Huh.
Yeah.
That's
Which, I mean,
interesting.
that happens every year for people. You know, every year the sun transits and squares our suns. But, you know, when you have such a vulnerable situation going on and, you know, you're not doing well, maybe you're not making the best decisions and you're in the square, it just kind of exasperates things. And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it
For
doesn't
sure.
work well with the current situation. I'll say that.
No, it doesn't. But yeah, like you're saying, it's not across, you know, this does happen once a year. It's not, you know.
A couple times a year squarings,
Yeah.
you know, for her when sun is in Leo as well. So yeah, kind of, you know, kind of a similar thing. No matter what theory we go with, things are just kind of lining up that probably not working well for her.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and another thing I think, do you think, let me ask you this, because that's another theory. I know like getting picked up could definitely be the case. Some people toss around like that she was gotten taken by a serial killer.
Hmm. The only, I mean, can we flip real quick to the accident chart?
Mhm. Mhm. Wow, that was easy. It was just there.
That was nice. We do have 7th house and a double body sign like Pisces. I mean, possibly. I don't know why I want to say no.
Yeah, yeah.
I would think we would have a descendant more in Gemini or Libra. Maybe. I
Something, yeah. No, I
I
know.
would say undetermined, but I'm leaning towards no. I'd
Yeah.
have to look at some serial killer victim charts to kind of see what.
Undetermined, kind of like a lot of the weirdness about this
Yeah.
particular. Yeah.
I know. This one is kind of like just discussing theories. I don't know if I can come to a solid conclusion, although I am leaning on someone picking her up, but I can't even be solid with that.
Yeah, the one thing that we can rule out is, or I think we can, is the relationship angle, that there was
Yeah.
a secret something or another. Yeah.
I 100% disagree with relationship romantic involvement. I just can't see it anywhere.
Yeah, I don't really either. It feels too, yeah. Yeah. Not like that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and head off, but do you want to share where you can be found?
Yes. brandyburrowastrology.com, where I do astrology readings and tarot readings, and also on YouTube and Instagram at Brandy Burrow Astrology. And Ellie, where can we find you?
You can find me at saturnseason.com. You can find me on Instagram at Saturn Season Astrology and on YouTube at Let's F with Astrology.
Nice. Well, thank you for having me on, Ellie.
Thank you for coming and doing this. I wish we could give people more conclusive whatever about this. It is weird. I hope if she did say make an escape, I hope she's fine, you know. If she
I do
didn't,
hope her family gets closure. That's got to be so hard. You know?
yeah, I hope they, I hope they do, regardless of if it's that she wanted to escape and I hope at some point they find out she's okay. If she succumbed to something else, whether that be somebody else or the elements, because it was winter at that time, cold as shit, I would imagine. hopefully they find her so they can, yeah, have the closure they need.
Well said. Yes.
All right. Well, until next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.